All right, what's up, beautiful franchise people? There's a lot of you watching. Better late than never. I'm going to make it work. Have you ever landed at LAX and had to take that transfer to another terminal and have to wait an hour to make it happen? Well, that's what I just did. And I'm like, come on, let me get in. But sometimes it doesn't work that way. And in today's topic, as long as you can hear me, I hope you can hear me. Someone's going to give me a thumbs up in the comments. Just like in today's situation, sometimes the unknown or unexpected happens and you figure out a way to pivot. So obviously a lot of you are watching, and I appreciate you and bearing with me as I muscle through this podcast. But the topic is multi-unit franchisees. And so I want to give some context into how you get in front of these candidates. And part of what I'm going to share is I've been doing all of these persona projects with a bunch of our clients where we dive deep into what is the buying behavior of the candidate. How do they even get to a franchise brand, and what are they looking for? And so understanding the mentality will hopefully give you a few insights or tools that you can use in positioning your brand for success. Now, I don't know if any of you watched my podcast earlier today with Radiance, but there's something that was very fascinating to me in our discussion. It's so loud in here. I hope it's not distracting you guys too much. What was interesting is we talked about, and one of the things when they're describing their why you, why now was that the preferred financing that they get from their vendor audience ends up being a big advantage when they get a candidate in the door. Basically, what Scott Thompson said was, when we have someone, we can show them a direct channel to getting the financing that they're going to need so that they will be properly capitalized to be a franchise operator within the system. And the reason I want to share that is because I think it's an interesting aha moment in that when you've secured things that make your opportunity stronger, sometimes those don't go front and center on your website. You go with what's your why you, why now. You go with this is what our franchise opportunity is. But my analogy is almost turning the pyramid upside down. Like if we all start as franchise brands and we know that a candidate's going to look into franchising, then we are all equal. When we all have about the same royalty, that number is also equal. And so to the buyer, when we can show them here are the additional resources that you get as a part of being in our system, all of a sudden it gives you a different viewpoint on what you're leveraging back to those candidates. And so I think about like the super powerful multi-unit operator. They want underperforming units that they can buy. They want a portfolio already. And these are the superpower multi-unit operators. And so most brands don't have a pile of restaurants or brick and mortar that they can release or sell off as a package. And so they spend all this time and energy chasing down these candidates. But those candidates, the likelihood of the whales buying into the business are slim to none. Then I think of like the brands like Jersey Mike's, where for forever there was no item 19. And so what they were selling is bring someone in, set their expectations met, and they scale. And so they were creating the next wave of multi-unit franchisees. And so I think about this when it comes to who are you targeting from a persona standpoint. Again, if you're going after the whales, I understand why. It makes complete sense for me. You get someone who's well capitalized, who can open at scale. But if they eat up too much territory and therefore freeze out the market, then they can also be detrimental to your growth. So as a general point of view, my opinion is you scale franchises. You should make sure they're well capitalized or capitalized enough to open up 3. That's my opinion. But you don't necessarily have to award the whole territory. You award them 1, maybe give them the right of first refusal, and you make sure that the expectation that you set as dictated in item 5, 7, and 19 align to what their performance is going to be. And as long as they perform and their KPIs are strong, then you allow them to scale. Like that seems to make more sense for me. I remember there was a tax brand that we worked with a long time ago. He wanted to be a franchisee of H&R Block, and H&R Block denied him. And he's like, what do you mean? You only have 1 open in Brooklyn. And they're like, well, he bought the rights to 50. And so when you think about the blocked off territories, if that franchisee stalls, then you don't have the ability to grow in that marketplace. when I've talked with the multi-unit franchisees, I say, talk about what, and this has been through all the persona projects, go talk about what you're looking for. They say, show me profitability that is a sound investment. What does it cost to get in? How much I can make? It has to be sound. And if you already have some hesitation or turbulence there, that's going to be an issue. Ideally, show me an underperforming unit or units that are operating that can be sold as part of the package. Impress me with leadership. I want a direct channel there. Oftentimes, brands miss out an opportunity to show the vision of leadership. Show me a product that has a clear point of differentiation or proven unit level economics attached to it. Let me open where I want to open. Again, if you've blocked off the territories, that can become difficult. Validation should be great, and I want to see existing franchisees continuing to buy and build. And so that sets the framework. And then the next round of questions that I started asking, okay, if I wanted to get in front of you, if I wanted to deliver the message of my business opportunity to you, how would I get in front of them? And they said, I get my news on LinkedIn. I am on Facebook. Most of them are posting things about their family, but they are on there. They're not necessarily going to click an ad about buy my franchise, but they might click on a piece of content that educates them or a video that they saw come across their feed. So something you have. I pay attention to the next best lists and Google those. I was talking with a pretty big operator recently. I said, how did you even find this brand? And he said, I just Googled top emerging brands and found it. So being in those lists are important. That's PR. I read industry pages or trades like 1851 or the franchise trades. And I talk with other franchisees. Like that was another insight. They talk to other franchisees and say, what are you buying? That insight ends up being really critical to what you want to try to do. That if you get people from other businesses, other brands, then leverage them as a persona to get that message in front of additional people. So say you signed a McDonald's franchisee. Well, then you want to put out the story that, hey, we signed a McDonald's franchisee and this is why they bought into it. Like now all of a sudden, they want to be a part of that club. So that will help you position in front of the right buyers. The franchise opportunity, make sure you show your investment and return on your website and in your franchise marketing materials. They want to know that, so that has to be answered. If you have potential resales, market them as a package so that they can buy one, maybe in additional units. Even if you were to leverage your corporate footprint, you could sell off one unit and make it a multi-pack and make that as a part of package. Have a vision video on your website and showcase the experience behind the brand. Showcase product reviews that align with increasing your sales. Don't oversell markets or give away too many territories. Highlight your franchisees in your marketing website and group campaigns. Like the model is not overly hard. But if the buzz is not there, if other franchisees aren't talking about it, if other franchisees aren't scaling, that means there is misaligned expectations in the sales process. These are all hurdles that will keep the big guys away. And so you want to almost like on a quarterly basis, go back to the drawing board, look at the construct of the business and say, is this built for someone who is sophisticated in business? If the answer is no, then continue to retool that. Franchise marketing, make sure you have a steady drumbeat on LinkedIn, content of signings, openings, and milestones. Target high net worth individuals and key growth markets that you want to grow in on Meta. Have a steady flow of PR to make sure your brand is in the category searches. Have a steady flow of content on industry news sites. Do everything in your power to leverage franchisee scaling and getting their story in front of as many people as possible. I recently had a brand ask me what they should expect with multi-unit franchise outreach. I said very little. Best estimate would be 10% would be willing to invest in another brand, and 10% of those would be willing to invest in another brand in the next year, unless the unit level economics are far out producing expectations of the investment. So my best recommendation is award one, get it going, provide the market provide the ability to have first right of refusal to those that are well capitalized, not to those that aren't. And this will start creating the formula that you can get in front of the right buyers. At the end of the day, I was with a brand yesterday. Tremendous unit level economics, tremendous construct for the business, no drumbeat. Okay, well, that's easy. We can turn on the drumbeat, and then it turns into two challenges. Can we find the real estate? And can we get them open? I talked with a brand earlier today. It's a really good podcast. You should go watch it. It's called Alloy Personal Training. And we talked about the construct of his business, kept the investment under $500,000, somewhere between 250 and 400 is the sweet spot. He kept the operations very simple so that the average Joe could get into the business. He understands how many customers he needs to break even and to make money. So therefore, I said, "What's your grand opening?" Because at a $400,000 investment, I knew what my answer would be. I go, "Well, how much do you require for grand opening?" He said, 40,000. I go, 10%. That's beautiful. That's exactly the number that I would have said. So I was very impressed with that. But above it, I start like you think about the construct of our conversation. It'd be worth watching that if you're thinking about like what can I do differently as a business. Watch that back, and what you'll see is, in my opinion, the widget ended up being irrelevant. It was all about the business model. Can my franchisees make the money that I set their expectations to make? Was the cost to get in sound? Can they easily operate this and scale? The last thing I'll say on the alloy conversation that I just had, I said, "What's your goal?" I said 800 units. That's a big number. But in the way that he constructed a fitness brand in a crowded space and kept it simple, I started looking at the total real estate investment of, call it $400 million versus $1 million investment that would take $1 billion. And now start putting things in perspective of how are we going to find the operators to go get that money to put it forward. So the point is, I don't know that you have to chase multi-unit operators. You need to chase franchisees who will perform above average, have enough capital to scale. That's it. And you do that, perform above average, have enough capital to scale, they will continue to build up the portfolio. You don't over award a territory. You let them prove it out. Don't let them swallow it up. You can give first right of refusal to say we're in this for the long term. But you focus on the simple aspects of business, which is how much does it cost to operate and how much do I make? And all of a sudden, you can start having the right things in place that will attract someone who will want to scale. I get it. Everybody that buys a franchise talks about passion or wanting to do something good for their community. Great. That's the asterisk. But true Serum, they're going to say, "I'm in this to make money." Everybody invests in a franchise to make money and make money for their family. So if we call it is what it is and say, have we constructed this well? And are we growing, allowing growth in that marketplace with other like-minded individuals that want to scale? You can build up an audience of 10, 15, 25 who add a unit every year, every 18 months. And now you just built a multi-unit organization versus spending all the time and energy to go get these whales that might not fit the construct or culture of your business. So that's me going on a crazy rant at LAX, trying to still give you guys value. I was like, do I cancel this? Do I move it? So no, the show must go on. So should yours. Keep your show going. Feel free to reach out to me if you have additional questions on this. I've been studying, I've been talking with all these multi-unit operators intensely over the last 6 months. So I wanted to see, is there any insights? And go watch those 2 podcasts that I did today if you have time. Go watch the Radiance one and think about how do I show the value, the return on royalty. I'm going to start using that as a term. Return on royalty. I pay this percentage. What do I get back? So think through that one and go watch the alloy one and just understand that sometimes keeping it simple can be the pathway to building a tremendous business. At the end of the day, I believe in you. Thanks for watching. This was the fastest coffee analytics because it's probably loud as hell. And I'm sorry for that. But here we are. Well, how to get your multi-unit operators. Take care.